What is up, rockers of the Rock Nation? This is your fellow rocker here, ex-Rockerman and I'm here right now, like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm trying to be a little bit quieter. Hopefully I can be. If not, well, fuck me then. But, on Valentine's Day, last night, I just watched it at like 3 in the morning. But last night at 9 o'clock on Valentine's Day, The Walking Dead Season 6 mid-season finale, or not mid-season finale, mid-season premiere happened. I figured, why not give it its own episode instead of waiting until next week, since wrestling's next week and I'll be doing that and probably end up missing a week of Walking Dead and probably whatever. Anyway, point of is, I'm here with my review, which I will be continuing this throughout the rest of the season, hopefully. Instead of, what it is, I did say we'll be reviewing Season 6. I don't want to stop it halfway through, so I might continue it. Season 7, I may not review, may not, just depends, but that'll come at a later date whether or not I do it. But yeah. As for The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 9 of Season 6, for that matter, titled No Way Out, which is a weird-ass title for this episode. Well, not really, but I guess it makes perfect sense. But, this episode, all I have to say is, and I'm not just saying this to agree with anyone, I really do feel like this was, I don't want to say the best episode of the series, but I do want to say this seems, well, for special effects, I feel like it has to be probably the best episode of the series. But for overall personnel, this is definitely probably, and if it ain't the best episode of the series, it's definitely probably one of the best episodes of the season so far. I don't know what that means. I'm not just saying that to agree with people, but you know what? Fuck it. I really don't care. That's how I see it, and that's, people has to relive it. But, yeah. We got the opening scene of the show, and all I have to say is, with the Negan group, or not Negan group, we got Daryl, I can't speak, obviously we got Daryl, Abraham, Sasha on the way back. They run into the Negan group, and this whole Negan group, not considering Negan himself, all I have to say is, I really do feel like, well, obviously, if you read the comics, it's probably going to be a threat, but you can come down the threat between two things, really. Rick going softer and Negan, and I really feel like Negan is definitely a threat. A horrible-ass threat, and I really feel like he's worse. And just the way they're saying, take everything. Well, granted, the governor killed for their stuff. I don't know. I feel like, in a way, Negan, I can't speak Negan, like that group, whatever the fuck's going on, and I really am waiting forward to see what's going to happen with the Negan and stuff like that, and where they're going to come in and stuff like that. I really feel like they're more psycho than the governor. That's really all I gotta say. But my favorite part of that scene, I don't care what anybody, and people will agree this, fucking Daryl just taking the rocket launcher and blowing the fuck out of him. I'm sorry, I was watching that and I was like, holy shit. Just again, this goes in more of how I feel like the special effects in that episode was literally on point. It was like, fuck. And then later on down the line, there's more stuff that happens that I will get into, but it's like, I really do like this opening scene, Sets up the Negan group. Are they going to come after Rick and everyone else? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And then moving on to my next thing in this episode, we got the group with Rick masking themselves, I think it was Rick, Carl, Michonne, Sam, Ron, and Jesse. And Gabriel and Judith, of course. I forgot about them too for a minute. But all I have to say is, I don't know. When there was a point in this that I wasn't for sure about, when I'm like, oh, let's have Gabriel offers to take Judith, Rick says, well, have Krabby go to the quarry and back, stuff like that, And Gabriel takes Judith with him. I don't know if I would have trusted Gabriel or not, if I was Rick or anything. But, And then it comes on the point where Sam, which, aka Jesse's son, didn't want to leave her, And, even though he, ultimately, I really do feel like for Sam to even have a single chance at survival, should have went with Gabriel. Why am I saying he shouldn't have Gabriel? Because I'm sorry. And I don't know why. We'll never know why Sam. Well, we know obviously know why he died, but we never know in his mindset. Like, because the last words he really clicked in his mind before he was bit by the walkers was in that whole mega herd. That was Carol's voice saying what she said to him, and I honestly don't know. Like in my head, I feel like part of that was Carol's fault for Sam dying. Like it wasn't just Jesse's for not making him go with Gabriel, or it wasn't just Carol's for saying what she said to him. It's like a combination of everything that happened, and all of a sudden he just stops, sees that little boy in the crowd walking, aka the walker walking. Whether that was an actual child walker or he saw himself as a walker, I don't know. And then in the end, too, Sam's death, obviously Jesse wouldn't let go of him, leading to Jesse screaming, and Jesse getting her ass ate, and then in turn, her other son, aka Porch Dick Jr., you would say. Oh, jeez. Taking the gun. I don't know whether he was trying to shoot Rick or Carl more. Because, he was after both of them at some point. And then Michonne just comes around, takes her katana, fucking stabs him right through him. And then the gunshot goes off. And I'm not even going to get to the fucked up part. Just that whole thing, right? Even that was like, oh my god, holy shit. Right in the middle of the herd, too. It's like, god damn. And then all of a sudden, it's like, we see Carl turn around the shot and he just falls in his right eye. Is it the same eye as the governor? I don't know. Is it the same eye as the governor that got hit? I don't know, but like all of a sudden just the governor's eye patch, it's gone. Like straight through it, and it's like, oh god. I don't know, just Carl's right eye's missing, it grazed him, the bone ricocheted, his eye's gone now. It's like, holy shit. And I'm sorry, before I even continue any further, this episode was just literally, you either was an emotional wreck or filled with adrenaline throughout this whole episode. I'm not kidding. You was like, oh shit, no, please don't kill Carl. Please don't let this be Carl's end. But it's like, and then there's that time like with Daryl and like the other stuff that goes down. You're just adrenaline. It's like, holy fuck. I'm not lying there either, Runs through the street to get Carl to the infirmary, Carl is now officially missing his right eye. The whole Sam, Jesse, and Ron family is now gone in one swoop, which sucks. Because I find it really fucked up, though, that which obviously didn't know this episode was going to premiere on Valentine's Day, but it's like, the potential love interest to Rick, which obviously is what they were going with, and then boom, she's dead. It's like, god damn it, on Valentine's Day. It's literally fucked up. I'm not kidding on that either. And I literally kind of want to call this episode unofficially the Valentine's Day Massacre, because literally this is what it seemed like. Just everything between families going down, between some other random people dying, and between the herd going down. It's just like, god damn, holy fuck. And again, just that's all really I gotta say, but it's like, god damn. And honestly though, I do feel sorry for Rick in this instance. He lost his wife back in season 3 or 4. I forget which one it was, back when it came to the... What I was going to say, oh yeah, back when it came to, like, the seasons and stuff like that, he lost Lori. Right there in that instant, he lost Jesse, aka his love interest. He potentially almost lost his son. And that just caused him to go on a huge-ass rampage near the end of the episode, and I'll get more of that later. What happens there, and it's just like, god damn. I still say god damn because of this episode, And now we move on to the, and for people that might not know how I do these, when it comes to like a group thing, I kind of split these up into groups and how I feel about these groups and what goes on within these groups with the episodes. That's how I kind of split them. So, yeah. And then we got the other group. One of the other groups got Carol, Morgan, Eugene, Rosita, and Tara. And ultimately, I don't know how I feel about this. Really, I mean, you got obviously the tension between Carol and Morgan, and with especially with Carol saying, "I should have killed you," stuff like that. And then you have Eugene contemplating what he should do, you know, and you obviously know he's contemplating whether he should go into action or not, which obviously he does later on. And you got Tara and Rosita trying to figure out what they should do, stuff like that. Even and then with Carol and Morgan, saying that you did it for yourself, saving that Morgan saved the wolf. Honestly, I don't know if he did it for himself or if he also did it for the wolf as well, trying to change him. And I'll get more on that here in a second, though. Then we got Enid and Glenn, that whole thing that went down, and Glenn, Glenn, Enid in the church trying to make up a plan to save Maggie, who's trapped on the platform, stuff like that, which they eventually do, thank God. And just that whole scene in general too, and I'll get more on that as I get to the whole Rick Rampage stuff like that. But I feel like Glenn was really making a breakthrough with Enid because what he said to her and then made her think, and he elaborated that your parents are still here because you're still alive. And because and basically Glenn knows that feeling because there's people that die that he cared about that's still there, that's still there because he's alive. If he goes, then they go with him, basically, which makes perfect sense. And and again, I'll get to the next part in a second, but it's like, just that thing that goes on there. And that's really all I got to say about that. And the Enid does make the breakthrough. They go on the rescue mission here later, and I'll get more on that. But it's like, goddamn. And here we got, and then my next thing I want to say, the wolf and the niece. And here's funny about the wolf. Oh, which you really didn't have any. We just call him the wolf. But I don't know if he was actually trying to help Denise. Like when he saved her the 2 times, whether it was for his own selfish reasons to try to stay alive, or was it actually that he was generally trying to save her. And in the end, I feel like if he actually was trying to save her, not for his own selfish reasons, that means Morgan actually got through to him a little bit, and yet again, that comes out to Denise made the infirmary after her saving it twice, and the second time he saved her, Carol took him out, shot in the chest, he became a walker, stuff like that. So the wolf is no more. Or that one wolf in general is no more. I don't know about the others. And there's some kind of interaction there too, I think, between the two, because other than Morgan, who had the wolf there, that no one actually challenged him other than Denise, and there's something about that interaction between the two that was really enjoyable. It's weird in a sense to say that was enjoyable. Obviously the wolf's supposed to be a bad guy, and Denise supposed to be a good person. And really, here's the thing too about the wolves, and I don't mean that wolf in particular, I just mean the wolf's group as a whole. And this is where we see whether or not if they actually are good people. And here's what makes you think what happened with this wolf. Are they actually good people that just are fucked up in the head and they went down a path to do what they had to do to try and survive and to try and make sure they survive and make sure no one can fuck up their survival? Or are they actually fucked up in the head enough to where they're going to kill other people for no good reason? And it really makes you think it could be one way or another. And honestly, I don't know. Based off what happened with this wolf and what's based off Morgan, stuff like that, I want to say the wolves are actually good people in a sense. Like, not necessarily, but I don't want to say some of them are still good. Because in a sense, but also not good at the same time. Like, obviously they kill people for selfish reasons. Granted, Rick's people have done that in self-defense many times. Not really selfish reasons, but they have done that in self-defense multiple times. So I really don't know. And this is for you guys to decide. I feel like the wolves, they're bad people. They're good people that just lost their way. And I guess that makes sense, just based off this one wolf. Granted, that opinion might change later on, but in a way, anything's possible, I guess. I don't know. And I'll come down to the last part I want to talk about this episode, just that whole end, last stand scene when it comes to the Mega Herd, which is literally the biggest herd in Walking Dead history. You know, we got the main group, Rick, Michonne, you know, everyone, Glenn, Maggie, you know, this whole thing, it came down, you know, Rick goes out on this rampage afterwards, you know, after Michonne kisses Rick's forehead, or not Rick, after Michonne kisses Carl's forehead, after the suture happened with Denise to Carl's eye, you know, Michonne goes out, helps him. The other members of Alexandria goes out and try to help Rick fight off the herd, and, you know, Enid and what's his name? Oh, Enid and Glenn go out and try to help Maggie. And can I just say, Glenn is one lucky motherfucker. I'm just saying. Why do I say this? Because this is 2 times this season, maybe more, but at least twice, he almost died. But what I find most of all is that, you know, Sasha and Abraham comes, shoots the walkers down, saves them, you know, they get Maggie, stuff like that, you know, Enid gets Maggie. And I find it funny that it's just everyone comes around and just at the right moment in time. So like, oh shit, we're about to die. Oh, nope, conveniently placed plot point. Stuff like that, you know, it's just funny how people shows up at the right time. It's like, goddamn. And just like, and again, my favorite part was that Lake of Fire scene. You know, Daryl takes the gas, which what was released that they used propane to use, you know, and Daryl taking the rocket launcher. You know, Daryl puts the gas in the lake, and then he takes the rocket launcher and blows up the lake on fire. It's like, holy fuck. It's like, is this whole central stage about which ends up the walkers going to the Lake of Fire, you know, stuff like that, and going in, and it's just like, goddamn, into the water. It's just like shit. And then, like, 3 characters mans up. Well, granted, Eugene already manned up, but at least 2 manned up, you know. Fucking Gabriel, of all people, manned up and gave a speech to the Alexandrians, praying, saying, you know, that we prayed for God to save us, when in reality God is saving us by giving us the courage to do it ourselves. You know, giving those Alexandrians that small speech. It's just like, and he goes out and even helps them, you know, and helps Rick and everyone else take down the walkers. And, you know, Morgan goes out and helps them take down the walkers and actually kills one of the walkers. You know, he says to the wolf walker, I'm sorry, kills them, kills some other ones. It's just like, again, and just that Daryl scene, I can't get it out of my head right now. It's like, oh, poor gas, locker launcher blows it on fire, Lake of Fire happens. Again, for visual effects and for the story on this episode, I'm not gonna lie, fucking a hell of a good episode, probably the best episode of this season, and again, if not of the series, probably, which I wouldn't really say of the series. There's probably been plenty of other better episodes, but in opinion, this is at least the season best episode because of shit that went down. You know, you had action, you had tension, it's just like, goddamn. And then in the morning, when it all comes down, in the morning when it's all over, the fire's put out, Daryl's getting taken to, Glenn's reunited with Maggie finally, I don't know where Enid and everyone else is, you know, stuff goes down, Sasha's there, Abraham's there, you know, they're all there getting taken care of, all the injured, stuff like that, you know. From what we know, people from last night from the night previous survived, or at least the majority of them, if not 1 or 2 died, I'm not sure. And then you hear Rick doing his Rick-tator speech, which I wouldn't really call a Rick-tator speech at the moment. But hell, I'm on Rick's side, what can I say? You know, he says, you know, he's proud basically saying he's proud of the Alexandrians, saying that he was wrong about them, that they couldn't learn, but they finally did, and even if we're thinking Carl's dead, right at the end of the episode, he squeezes Rick's hand, letting him know he's still there. So, Carl's now alive with 1 eye. Just like the governor all over again. No, I'm kidding, but seriously, though. Again, this episode, I have to give it a 10 out of 10 star. Or a 10 out of 10, not whatever. I have to give it that just because of how good it was. I really do. And I'm not lying when I say that. That was a damn good episode. And even waiting to watch it still didn't, because I didn't really have any spoilers either. So even waiting to watch it just really made it something. I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, that's really all I gotta say about this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, I will be continuing this reviewing series for The Walking Dead Season 6. And hopefully I will continue it. But yeah, but I will be continuing it for sure. But hopefully I still can. But you get my point. But yeah, until next time, guys, live free and rock.